Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat malam, selamat bertemu kembali dengan saya Agus Setiawan Basuni live dari WartaJazz House Gallery di kawasan Cimanggis, Indonesia. Thank you for everyone who joining our session tonight, the WartaJazz Monday Lounge, the international edition on this very beautiful day, I would say. We already have our two international guests, so I would like to say hi to my colleague from live from Madrid, I think, for tonight. Hello, Rodrigo. How are you, man?
Hello, Agus. I'm very fine. Thank you for having me in the show.
All right, we're gonna talk about your latest album, which is also talking about your position right now, which is you are sometimes in Netherlands and sometimes in Spain.
Yes.
Jadi teman-teman semua, tamu kita pertama adalah Rodrigo. Dia adalah seorang gitaris yang sering bolak-balik Spanyol dan Belanda, tetapi sebenarnya dia aslinya dari Argentina. Selain itu, kita juga punya tamu satu lagi, seorang saksofonis cantik dari Denmark. So I would like to also introduce you another guest for our WartaJazz Monday Lounge tonight. Hello, Cecilie from Denmark. How are you?
I'm fine.
So where are you actually based in Denmark? In which city?
I'm in Copenhagen.
Oh, in Copenhagen. Okay, right. So for those who are just joining this program, we would like to inform you that we have three segments. The first session, or the first segment will be we're talking about Rodrigo's latest work, and then the second segment will be with Cecilie, and we have the last segment. If you do have some questions or comments or anything that you would like to say, please feel free to put that in the chat box in whatever social media that you are using, whether Instagram or YouTube. And you can also join us in Zoom session if you like to. The registration form is available through our website, www.wartajazz.com. So now we're talking with Rodrigo Faina. You are actually an Argentinian guitarist, but how come you end up living in Europe, and since when?
Well, I left Argentina, I think, 19 years ago, and I left. Well, it was a complicated year in Argentina when I left. It was 2001, 2002 that we have a big economic crisis in Argentina. So a little bit because of that, and a little bit because I wanted to study abroad, I had the idea to go to study guitar to New York. But well, New York, the universities at that time for me, and well, you also have to think about the change of coin and those things. It was super, super expensive. So I was saving for a long time. And when I really said, okay, this year I have to leave where I have to live, I couldn't afford any studies in New York. So by chance, I met a guitar player that was in a jam session in Argentina. And he was living in New York and he was going to Amsterdam, and he spoke very highly about the country and the schools there. So I really did not think about it, did not do much research. I just wanted to leave my country and meet musicians. So I really sent the application, and when it came that it was good, I packed everything, really literally everything, and I moved to Holland 19 years ago.
So then you develop your career in in Europe. But are you still keep coming back to Argentina, or?
I do, but not much, and for many years I lost completely the connection. The thing it's also when I was in Argentina, I was interested in different types of music, mainly jazz. But then in Holland, after just a few years, I got more deeply into composition, which is actually what I do mainly professionally. And I went more into the classical world for many years. So I did not have many contacts in Argentina with the classical music scene, and I don't keep a strong connection with the country, unfortunately.
All right. Okay, now let's talk about your recent work, which is quite interesting because just today I talked with Iman Spargarden.
Nice.
Because he said that he's also part of the project, because I didn't see the details on these different groups. So tell me a little bit about how did you come up with this project, and how did you met with these 23 musicians? It must be a little bit complicated, no?
More than a little bit, yes. I was quite naive. I think I needed to be. I thought it would be simpler. Well, the thing is, I've been writing for large ensembles and also trying a lot of different large ensembles formation. Mainly with experimenting a little bit with the classical world and the classical contemporary world and the jazz world. So over the years, I had different ensembles, and at some point I started to get some work. Actually, the first commission that I got, it was for the Metropole, for a kind of Metropole Orchestra with strings and big band. And it was for a festival with Kurt Rosenwinkel as a guitar soloist. So that was the first time I kind of got close to this kind of ensemble. And actually after that, I keep on getting now and then some commissions that were kind of related to those two worlds. So actually most of the tunes actually were commissioned by a very nice and very interesting ensemble that's called David Quicksilver Big Band, which is great. And I think I started to develop more things there. So kind of I had some music already in some pieces, but I don't know how did I end up there. I think life just took me there. I think I had an interest already for this kind of large ensembles, but then also through commissions and that I end up doing a lot of work in this line, which I love nowadays, and that's wanted to do, like to make the ensemble myself, to really be able to fully express myself, no? Because when you write a commission, there is also the final word. It's sometimes over the director or the soloist that are chosen for the band. I really wanted to create my own ensemble to have the definite word to be mine. No?
Okay, and then when you decided to include this person into your ensemble projects, what would be your consideration? I mean, like, I wanted to be this kind of tone, or I mean, how the creative process when you're working on this one?
I think that because I say I did it many times before the record, I had this sounds in my head. So I chose the band very conscious of of the sounds I wanted. I think that was the first thing, to have this combination of sounds. And then when you just write, I don't know how to say, but it was just first a sound idea, and also the idea to express what I wanted to express, no? And little by little the music starts to appear, no? Because I really conceived the whole thing from the very beginning, no? Thinking about the whole, every piece more like a suite, you know. So I'm a little bit old-fashioned in the sense that I like to put a record and to listen to the whole thing, you know, to that it feels like an LP, you know, something big, that not just like loose tracks in a way.
Okay, and then how did you come up with the title? When you say,
well, the title, it has to do a little bit with what I said before. It's about roots. So it's called Different Roots, and it has a few meanings. In a way, it's like I feel very much South American, and when I came to live to Europe, you know, you start to compare how was your life, or how was your life as a young boy, or before, up till that moment, and you compare with the life of other people, and I think that, well, growing in South America, or in certain places of South America, it's really something different. So there's these parts of my roots, musical roots, and the place where I born. And then on the other part, on the musical side, I think that there's a lot of large jazz ensembles out there. Many are great, but to me, I have this classical contemporary input, which is very big, and the tango input also from Argentina. So I feel that my musical roots are also different of the ones that many composers or arrangers from different parts of the world have. So it's different roots in a musical sense, and also in a geographical and personal sense. No? So I wanted the title to express that.
Okay, I think it's time to listen to the work, and then we can continue to talk about what you're trying to convey the message to the public. So let me just to share some screen. Okay, there you go. So buat teman-teman yang baru saja join, Anda sedang menikmati atau mendengarkan program WartaJazz yang berbeda, yaitu WartaJazz Monday Launch, namun edisi internasional, di mana kami mengundang teman-teman dari berbagai negara, dan kebetulan malam hari ini kita mengundang tamu dari Spanyol dan dari Denmark. Oke, mungkin sudah terlihat di layar, so let me just put that smaller screen so then everybody can see it. Okay, let's enjoy an installment of Time. Let me check the screen, make sure that everything works perfectly.
Hold the watch down with one hand. Take the stem in 2 fingers and rotate it smoothly. Now, another installment of time opens. Trees spread their leaves. Boats run races. Like a fan, time continues filling with itself. And from that burgeon, the air, the breezes of earth, the shadow of a woman, the sweet smell of bread. What did you expect? What more do you want? Quickly strap it to your wrist. Let it tick away in freedom. Imitate it greedily. Fear will rust all the rubies. Everything that could happen to it and was forgotten is about to corrode the watch's veins, cankering the cold blood and its tiny rubies. And death is there in the background. We must run to arrive beforehand and understand it's already unimportant.
All right. We're just watching the music video, which is also can be found in Rodrigo website. Yeah? You can check out this one, and also available, I think, in YouTube as well. So buat teman-teman yang baru saja menyimak program WartaJazz Monday Lounge, saya ngobrolnya dalam 2 bahasa untuk menjembatani Anda yang barangkali mungkin kesulitan kalau ingin bertanya dalam bahasa Inggris. Silakan kalau ada pertanyaan bisa disampaikan lewat kolom chat box di YouTube ataupun di Instagram. Dan kalau ingin join langsung di sesi Zoom bisa register lewat website WartaJazz.com. So, Rodrigo, how long to the process to finish the whole album?
I'm not sure, because since I had some pieces from before, I cannot say exactly. I know that some pieces like this one, I wrote it, I had it from before, and I recheck it, rearrange it, and the process was quite fast. But with some other pieces, it took quite long. It was maybe, I don't know what to say, at least 6 months, but it might be more.
Okay, and this one in particular, you were asking the. My question is, who's writing the concept for the video?
The video, I work with Blikan, which is a filmmaker from here, from Spain. We talk a little bit about what we wanted. Actually, at the beginning, what we wanted is that to have the whole album with videos with animation. I like animation a lot, and I think that was very good for the music, because the music can be kind of sweet and sometimes spooky, and it has many moods. But I always think like there's, I don't know, some kind of childish thing going on. And but to do animation videos, it was a crazy budget. So we end up doing this. That some it's a draw by Blanca, and some it's archive footage. You know, some footage is very old, like from the 1920s or 1930s. It's just some are very old images.
Okay. All right. I think we're gonna talk a little bit more about this on the segment 3. But thank you very much, and I enjoy very much seeing the video and also the music. So now let's move to our second guest. So Cecilie, are you still there? Let me check the screen. Okay, I need to turn on your microphone. Okay, so yeah. I do know that that you record this before. I mean, we're talking about the album that being featured by Downbeat, if I'm not mistaken. That's where I found your name. That's that you just having this album, and that's how I contacting you to be featured in our WartaJazz Monday Lounge. But before we're talking about your works, I mean the album that you has been released. Are you mainly works in Danish jazz scene, or are you also quite extensive? I mean, having quite extensive work in, per se, like the European or international, like outside Europe?
Well, right now I mainly just work in Denmark, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have different groups that I play with that also is trying to play more outside Denmark. So that's, that would be probably something that I'm working on in the future. But right now it's based in Denmark, and also of course Norway, Sweden, a little bit in Scandinavia.
Okay, and perhaps if people who just like knowing your name, like tonight, how would you like to describe yourself? To make it like a short elevator pitch, if I would say. To the people.
Yes. Well, I I play the saxophone, and I'm educated in Denmark at the Music Academy. I have recorded 3 albums, solo albums, which is my own music. It started out being more New Yorker-based, inspired music, modern jazz, and now it's more like Scandinavian folk jazz inspired, some Nordic jazz, I would say. So I'm very much fascinated by this folklore sound there is to find in the Scandinavian folk music. And when you combine it with jazz, that's something I'm very interested in. So I would say that is my musical profile at the moment, but I'm also into this freely playing, more improvised way of playing jazz. So that's also a part of what I do right now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're talking about that you actually starting playing. Beginning playing saxophone when you were at the age of 12. What kind of music that you're listening to back then?
The first saxophone player I was introduced to was Stan Getz, and actually that was it just, you know, it was so inspiring for me to hear what his sound and his way of playing, and it was his work with the João Gilberto and Astrid Gilberto. So that sound of Brazilian folk music combined with jazz was just something extraordinary to me. So I listened to one specific album live from Carnegie Hall from 1964. I heard it all the time when I was 12. So there's a lot of, scratches in this CD right now because I've heard it, you know, back and forward. So yeah, it was mainly Stan Getz for a long time. And then when I got a little older, it was John Coltrane, Dexter Gordon, Wayne Shorter, Jan Garbarek from Norway. Of course, Miles Davis and a lot of other great jazz musicians. And
Okay, we always keep hearing that the Scandinavian has its own sound, you know, and then we always assuming that you may listen this kind of sound everywhere you go, you know, like you're gonna keep hearing that kind of thing. But as you yourself coming from Denmark, how did you see yourself this say quote unquote natural sound that makes you say inspired, for example?
It's a really good question. I think it's a combination of how the nature is, because there's a specific when you hear this folk music from Norway, for instance, you can almost see the hills in front of you, and you can see the water, you can see the nature. And when you hear Swedish folk music, you also, you know, paint a lot of pictures in front of you. That's also is really much about how the nature is and how the people are, I think. So for me, it's a combination of nature and people and sound, I think. So and there's a little, when you talk about, for instance, Swedish folk music, which has been listened to a lot, the sound is these beautiful melodies. The melodies are very important in that type of, you know, tradition. So when you hear music that is very melodic and melody based, for me, it's also like inspired by that kind of history, if that makes sense. I think there's
Okay, now we're talking about the this recording. You did record this one in 2019, and the one that you sent me through the email was the blue, but actually that we're gonna play later on is coming from the Blikan. So tell us a little bit about what is the differences, because this being recorded at the same time, right?
Yes. The thing is that when we went to the studio back in 2019, I didn't have a plan to record 2 albums at that time. There was just so much music. So when we first met and we had 2 days in the recording studio, all of a sudden there was a lot of music for me to choose from afterwards. And so I was, thinking back and forth whether to do a double album but then the answer just came in the music, because it was sort of 2 different albums, but with, played at the same time, played at the same recording studio, this session. So all of a sudden it came clear to me that this was 2 different albums.
I see. So when you do record, you don't know for sure that it's gonna be a 2 separate album, and is that I mean the blue and the Blikan, is it correct the way I pronounce?
Yes.
Yeah, the Blikan has a 2 different concept, or it has some connection between each of albums?
It definitely has a connection. First of all, the sound that you could hear that it's recorded in the same within the same 2 days, but it also has the sound of this folk jazz atmosphere that I wanted to create, combined with more free improvised music and sequences. So for me it's like the tunes on both albums has a long history of from my personal life. So of course there's, when you take the music all together, it tells a lot about what happened to me the last years, 10 years or something, but also what I'm inspired by right now, and what my music has developed into as a composer.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you come up with your lineups? I mean, is this your regular bandmates, or it is something that you set specific for this project?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, because the thing is that those 3 guys that is on both albums, I didn't actually play with them before going to the recording studio. So I actually sat down for, I think, at least 2 years and thought about which lineup I should use. Because I made my debut album 6 years ago, and I had another lineup at the time, and also really great musicians, and I really enjoyed playing with them. But I felt that I should do something else, had another lineup for this recording session. So I used a lot of time actually to think about those musicians, and so it was a great experience to go to the recording studio, and also for them to see how they also said, how did you come up with this? How did you think about this combination? And but for me, it was it really makes sense, because what they do individually is just that sound that I wanted. So I was well, for me it was quite magical to actually record it with them.
Okay, just to make it sense for everybody who just listening to this conversation, or perhaps if you enjoying this later on, because it's available through the YouTube channel, in a WartaJazz YouTube channel. So let's just enjoy. I'm gonna pick up, this is the first track, which is available from Bandcamp. What does it call?
It's called Eudaimonia.
Eudaimonia. Okay, let's enjoy.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more later on. Beautiful. Thank you for the good music. Well, I saw just doing a quick Googling about this album, and many reviews available if anyone would like to know what the jazz critics saying about this album. And definitely, as I told you, that I was found this album through the Downbeat, which include this album as part of their publication in the July edition. So you must be receiving a lot of, I would say, positive feedbacks from many corners of the world, don't you?
It's kind of you to say. It has been really overwhelming, yeah, because there's a lot of sweet comments from different corners of the world, and people has been really kind about what they write about the music. So thank you.
Are you anticipating this one, or this is just something out of your imagination?
Excuse me?
I mean, are you already expecting that everybody gonna respond to this one, or it is just because this album is, I mean, if I would like to quote the downbeat, is full of rich because of the Denmark, and there are thoughtful ideas, as you told me that you took 2 years just to put this into like a really a concept, you know. So are you like really know that it's going to be you know, some good response from the, say, market, or you just, you know, you never never thought about this thing?
I think I understand the question, but well, yeah, of course I hope that the music will you know, get to a lot of people, because that would be, you know, amazing for me. So yeah, hopefully people can use it in some way and find whatever they need. Is that what you were asking, or?
Pretty much, although not exactly. However, we do have a little bit like 14 minutes before we finish our session. As I told you, is 1 hour is really short time. And now I would like to ask both of you, Cecilie and also Rodrigo. You guys are somehow launched these projects in the middle of the pandemic situation. So how did you see yourself as musicians? You know, with all of this madness, if I would say, because normally after having a gig, after launching an album, usually you follow up immediately with the promoting by having some gigs or things like that. But of course, last year was definitely like nothing that you could do. So maybe I would like to hear from you first, and then follow up with Rodrigo. Go ahead.
Yes, sorry, you asked Cecilie, ¿no es cierto?
Yeah, you can also go first, Rodrigo.
Okay.
It's okay.
I go first. Well, I really don't know what is going to happen. It was really bad, because you imagine something else, but especially with this ensemble with 23 people, it's really madness to get together for the restrictions, and then also, you know, all large spaces, it's large halls, it's complicated. So I'm uncertain about what is going to happen in the near future. I'm stay positive, and I say that I think we are going to be able to present it live or at some point. But in the near future, it doesn't look really like that. So we are working already in some smaller versions of the ensemble, just in case.
All right. So Cecilie, what is your opinion of, I mean, not your opinion, but what is your response? Because we are still in in a pandemic situation, but you just have to release your album anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's been, like you said, a crazy, chaotic time. So last year when I had my first album Blue, part of this is the same session. Yeah, it was just, right after everything locked down. So it was very silent.
So it's a little bit sad, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
you didn't expect that's gonna happen.
No, but I was also very pregnant at the time, so I gave birth to my daughter just like a month after my record was last year. So I've been home with her and my son. So a lot of things has been, in the family. But I think that it's been a crazy time where you also got to think a lot about how to get your music travel around the world anyhow. So I think that it's been interesting for me to see that how much our world is connected on the digital platforms right now. So that you actually wrote to me because you saw that downbeat. I think that's kind of amazing that we are connected even though we can't really travel. Sure. So yeah, so it's been interesting to see what happened in that matter. But of course, for now, this summer we just had this Copenhagen Jazz Festival where I was playing some concerts, and that was just amazing to see an audience and feel an audience. And of course, it was still, restricted how many can be set down and how many chairs and all that and how much distance in between. But still, it was, it was possible. So that was, extremely amazing. So yeah, hopefully, I'm looking forward to see what happens and if we can go more outside Denmark's borders.
Sure. Well, we are almost reaching our final program, and as I promised, I'm going to ask everybody to respond to each creative works. So perhaps Cecilie, you could just make a quick comments and a final thoughts on tonight's program before we say goodbye to everybody. So time is yours.
Okay, should I just finish up or?
Yeah, I mean, I would like you to respond to Rodrigo works and also maybe sum it up, like making a closing statement before we say goodbye.
Yes, I would really like to say to Rodrigo, and that was so interesting to hear your music. And I've been studying composition myself at the Music Academy when I took my master degree, and it was really interesting for me to hear what you did with the different instruments and that melodic sequence that was in the beginning and how it developed into soundscapes in the end, and also of course to see the video along with it. So I really much enjoyed listening to your music, to your work.
All right, now it's Rodrigo turn and the same. I mean, likewise.
Also, thank you very much, Cecilie. I also really enjoyed your music. It's really my kind of mood. It's a beautiful sound. You have a beautiful sound in the saxophone, but I really like. I don't know if it's an Argentinian thing. We like melancholic, deep, looking inside music and it feels that it's done with a lot of heart and soul, and it's in the music. So I really enjoy it. I will definitely listen to the whole album because I really like it. So congratulations, it's beautiful, really.
Thank you very much.
I love depressive music. Depressive music made me happy.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the this program, is to introduce everyone who doesn't know everybody, and then also to introduce your music to the Indonesian, as our mission is to promoting the Indonesian jazz music to the world and the world of jazz musicians to the Indonesian jazz lovers in whatever they are staying in this beautiful country. So thank you very much, Rodrigo, Faina, live from Madrid right at the moment, and also Cecilie, live from Copenhagen, Denmark, for your time. So everyone, if you would like to enjoy more about their music, please check out WartaJazz.com. We're gonna put some links directly to their websites, so then you can enjoy the music. And also don't forget, you will be able also to listen their tracks if it is available in Spotify, because we do have a playlist in Spotify. Otherwise, please be sure checking out the music through their websites. My name is Agus Setiawan Basuni. Thank you very much for joining us for 1 hour, listening to the most recent and interesting works from different corners of the world. See you again next week, same time, 9:15 Jakarta time, which is GMT +7. We're gonna have another interesting guest with hopefully interesting music for all of you. Again, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dan selamat malam.